Lithium-ion battery fires account for nearly half of all the waste fires in the UK. And the estimate is that that is costing the UK economy around about £150 million every year. And probably most crucially for us as communicators, nearly half of the UK adult population are not even aware that there is a danger or an issue with just throwing these devices away. Charge Safe campaign, which was a collaboration between London Fire Brigade and the Borough of Tower Hamlets. E-bikes and e-scooters, one of London's fastest growing fire risks. And on average, they're seeing, or they were last year anyway, seeing a fire in the capital once every 2 days related to those devices. And in Tower Hamlets in particular, the issue of them being charged in communal corridors and spaces was particularly pronounced because 80% of homes in the Tower Hamlets borough are flats. So the focus of their campaign was on education, on charging devices safely, and on purchasing safe devices and kit, and they did that with the support of their trading standards team as well. The Tower Hamlets and London Fire Brigade approach, I think, gives us a really strong example of how collaboration can be the key. The collaboration between agencies and teams can be one of the keys to tackling this issue, and the way we need to be thinking if we're going to be able to get on top of the issue.
Because for me, this is one of the most important things you can do to improve the impact of your work. And the Tower Hamlets example just now was a really good example of that in practice. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the COM-B framework. And there's 3 parts to the model, if you haven't seen it before, around capability, opportunity, and motivation. And the model argues that you need all 3 for a behaviour to take place. And this is really helpful. So thinking through very clearly what the problem is, what the themes are that underpin that, having a long list of behaviours of everything that's happening now, and then thinking about what behaviours will have the biggest impact. So once you've done that thinking and created that long list, it's really worth then thinking about how you target those behaviours. And an exercise that's worth doing is thinking about which is the kind of easiest to shift potentially. So if you forget everything else I've said, this is probably the most important bit, thinking through where do we start? So actually, if it's awareness, that can be really easy to shift compared to other barriers. So in the Tower Hamlets example, I think, James, you said it's around charging and buying, those very specific behaviours. And that can make a big difference. And that kind of being really clear about what behaviour that it is you want to shift. And the more you're specific about behaviour, the more you focus on 1 or 2 behaviours, the more likely it is you will change someone's behaviour.
First solution is to use the public sector or the council-owned estate. Where you own channels, you must use them. Where you have a 50% awareness gap around the dangers of lithium-ion batteries, this problem's not going to go away. You can't handle it with a 2-month campaign. You're going to need always-on communication, and the public sector-owned estate is a brilliant way of doing that. But everything also needs to be augmented. I'm sure we've all heard of programmatic advertising, but this is about the ability to target purchasing data, intent or post-purchase. And this is a fairly new capability, the ability to buy advertising to people who have bought certain products on Amazon, or to people who have searched for specific products on Google. Why do this? Well, the purchase of a product and the research of a product could be a really strong indicator of someone about to throw something away. And so being able to access and take this data and then use that third-party data through programmatic exchanges. If the context contains vape, e-bike, e-scooter, laptop, drone, bid high for that user. And if you win that bid, then serve this message, which could be, if vape related, when you buy your next vape, take the old ones to the supplier with you, or when your laptop arrives, here's where to dispose of that of the battery or of the device in a safe way. What you then do with that data is you then find those people, and wherever they are online, whether they're looking at news, Snapchat, or even with the e-bikes application on Waze, we can reach that device on whatever channel they're on. So you don't have to choose which channel, you can let the exchanges make the decision for you. And so this means that we can be laser targeted about who we're messaging, which means that you waste far less budget. And so always on paid campaigns that are relatively low volume, but reaching people at exactly the right time in the area you serve, are now possible.